In this movie we're going to take the existing whiteness of the eyes and just brighten those up a little bit and brighten up the highlights to give the eyes more impact. And to do that we're going to use this tool here. It's the dodge tool. So we can select it by clicking and holding the mouse down to make sure that we can find it in the compartment, or you could always press Shift and O and cycle through. You can see there they're changing. Move the mouse out of the way for a second. Shift and O, and we're going to choose the dodge tool. And before we start dodging on our original layer there, let's just duplicate that by dragging the background layer onto the create a new layer icon. And the good thing is if we make a mistake, if we go too far with our edits, we can start again, and also we can turn this on and off to see the difference between the before and after image, just to make sure that we don't go over the top with our edits. Okay, so select this layer here, make sure you've got the dodge tool selected, and the next thing to do is to choose a decent brush. 65 should do the trick. You can click and choose that from the preset picker. Then click on midtones here and change that to highlights, because we're going to work on the brightest pixels. We don't want to adjust the shadows or the midtones. Now for a more subtle edit, it's always worth changing the exposure and taking it down to about 10, because then you can build up the changes slowly rather than having them go over the top straight away. So it's a much nicer way of just clicking here and dragging to the left or to the right to get about 10% exposure. And finally what we'll do, I'm just going to change these thumbnails because they're quite small. I'm going to go to here to palette options. You don't need to do this, but it'll make it easier for you to see my layers by me doing that for you. It's good to know anyway. Okay, target this layer. We've got the tool all set up, so we can now just gently spray in and brighten up some of those whites. And then you can press the left square bracket to shrink it down a little bit and start working on the highlight here, because this catch light is adding a personality to the eye. You can see it's shiny and you can tell it's an organic component, as it were, so it's nice and glistening. And you've got a little bit of red there appearing because we're actually dodging in some of the red blood vessels there, and we can sort that out a little bit later using the sponge tool, because it's not really nice to have red eyes or bloodshot eyes. But I'm just brightening up the eye there. I'm not going to go too much over the top. I don't want to burn out all detail there, so leave a little bit of the darker parts of the whites there. And again you'll see this eye here, it's quite soft focus because of the shallow depth of field, and we could sharpen that now, but if we sharpen it, it tends to add noise, and if you then start to dodge in noise, you get lots of little grains appearing. So it's always worth doing your dodging first. Click and drag here before you sharpen. So dodging and burning is good to start off quite early in the workflow. Okay, I'm just bringing out the shine there and bringing out the highlight around there. I don't want to go too far. Let me just turn that layer off for a second. You can see there's quite a dramatic improvement. If you think it's too much, you could always reduce the opacity of the layer a little bit, like so. About 90% should do. So we've used the dodge tool just to brighten up the eyes a little bit and give them an extra impact. And what we'll do in the next movie is look at the close cousin, the burn tool, and we'll increase the contrast between the whites and the blacks by darkening some of these lashes. So I'll see you in the next section.